So hello everybody. Tag team's out. So we are going to show a tag team deck. It is one of my favorite decks. And it's Celebi Venusaur. Let's take a look at the card Celebi Venusaur. So it is a great card. It is a tag team. It has 270 HP. That's great. So its first attack, Pollen Hazard, does 50 damage originally, and it takes 1 grass energy and DCE, if you can find them, or else you have to take the long way. And it says, your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned, confused, and poisoned. So in the end, that does 80 damage. And its next attack, all you have to do is get 1 more grass energy. And it's Solar Beam. It does 150. There is no other things that you have to worry about unless they have weakness or resistance. Same thing with this. So that's simple. And then we have Evergreen GX. It does 180 damage. And if you see there's a plus sign here, it means there could be more energies if you want to do something like extra with it. It is the same attack cost as Solar Beam, which is great. And it says, heal all damage from this Pokemon if this Pokemon has at least 1 extra grass energy attached to it, in addition to its attack cost. Shuffle all cards from your discard pile into your deck. That is a great GX deck. So we only play 8 Pokemon, which is really good actually in this deck. And the other 4 are all Shaymins. Let's take a look at this. The only reason we play this, oh, darn it. Also, Celebi Venusaur has a 4 retreat cost, which we will explain why that is really important in this deck. And it's really hard to retreat it. So, Shaymin, we have Shaymin. It is basic. All the Pokemon in this deck are basics. It has 70 HP. And the only reason we play this is because of its ability, Floral Heal. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may heal 20 damage from your active Pokemon. So if you have all of these in play on your bench, because it only does your active, and grass, it will heal 80 damage. 20, 40, 60, 80. So you also play a lot more heal cards in this deck. So let's move on to the items. First we have 3 Judge Whistles. It is a choose one card, so it could be a very hard decision. And it says choose one, draw a card, or put a judge from your discard pile back into your hand, which is actually a pretty good card. And I'd usually draw a card because it's really easy, especially when it's first turn. You might want to go digging for a Lily, so you can draw until you have 8 cards and then have way more ability and control later in the game. That's why I like Judge Whistle in this deck. And now we have Crushing Hammer. We have 4 Crushing Hammers, and it says flip a coin. If heads, discard an energy card from one of your opponent's Pokemon. It doesn't have to be active, it doesn't have to be bench, it doesn't have to be anywhere. It just has to be a Pokemon. So if they have no energy in play, obviously you can't play this. Unless if you just want to fail it and just get it out of your hand. So that's why we have Crushing Hammer. We play 4 to get rid of 4 energies all game. And also, if you use Evergreen, you can do 8 of Crushing Hammers. And now we have Field Blower, which says choose up to 2 in any combination of Pokemon Tool cards and Stadium cards in play, yours or your opponent's, and then you discard them. So we play this to get rid of choice bands, stadiums that could help your opponent, but we can't just do it with Prisms. It's so annoying with Prisms. Now we play for an S-Ball. It's kind of the standard line in S-Ball. And what it says is, search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. That's pretty basic for the 4 line of this. Some people play 3. I'd say 4 is better so you can get all your Shaymins, and because Celebi Venusaur is really common, all you have to do is use a netball, which we are going to explain in 1 second. So now we have netball. It says, search your deck for a basic grass Pokemon or a grass energy, not both, or, because, well, one and the other could be a little overpowered. Energy card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And now we have Enhanced Hammer, and then we're going on to the Pokemon Tools. And we only play 1 because there's not a lot of decks playing special energies. And this says, discard a special energy card from one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's pretty basic. We only play 1 because there is energy, there's Enhanced Hammers and other cards that can get rid of special energy, so not a lot of people play special energy anymore. This deck kind of needs it. So you can see with the DCEs would be really good with this. And now we're on to tools. We only have 1 tool, but we play 2 of them. So we have Buff Padding. It is a silly name. And it says, if the Pokemon card is attached to has a retreat cost of exactly 4, which Celebi Venusaur has exactly 4 of a retreat cost, it gets 50 HP. 270 plus 50 equals 320, which is really good, because then it takes a while for somebody to knock out a Celebi Venusaur, unless they're playing Guardy, and then they could one-shot you. Now on to supporters. We have 2 Lily. We play the Lilies because we obviously want the turn 1 draw until you have 8 cards, and what Lily says is draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. If it's your first turn, draw cards until you have 8 cards in your hand. So let's say you lower your hand down to 3, and then you play the Lily. You would draw 6 cards because it's after you play the Lily. That's really good. And now we have Erica's Hospitality. It says you can play the card only if you have 4 or fewer cards in your hand. So if you have 5 cards with the Ericas, you can still play it. But if you have 6 cards, play the Erica, you have 5 cards, you can't play it. Which makes it kind of good and kind of not good. And the other part says draw a card for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play. So if they have a full bench and it's plus they're active, which means it will count as 6 cards. That's the max Erica can draw. So if you could get 10 cards in hand with the Erica, just in one time using it. And now we have Guzma. It is a really basic card to have in a deck, but in this deck we only play 2. And it says, switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. If you do, switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. You do get to pick your opponent's Pokemon that comes up and your Pokemon, which means it's really, really easy to get somebody trapped in the active. It's like if you're having a mirror match and they have a Celebi Venusaur inactive that's like fully charged, can kill you one shot with it, and you have Shaman inactive, just Guzma. And there's like usually Shamans or a non-loaded Venusaur on the bench, which means Guzma, something easy to kill. Switch it with like a fully loaded Venusaur on your bench, and then you get the knockout. Simple. Now, Sophocles. Not a lot of decks have this. In this deck, it's really good. It says discard 2 cards from your hand. If you do, draw 4 cards. So it's double the amount of cards that you discard, which makes this card really good. And I really like it. And now we only have 1 Acerola. The reason for this is because you don't really get knocked out a lot. And it says, put one of your Pokemon that has damage counters on it and all cards attached to it into your hand, so not into your discard. And that just makes this card amazing in some decks, and some decks it might just be, well, not really good because, well, buff padding on this. It would definitely not get knocked out. In a 2-hit, it would probably 3 or 4. And now we have Gardenia. Gardenia says heal 80 damage from one of your Pokemon that has any grass energy attached to it. And this usually has grass energy because it requires grass energy to do its first attack, second attack, and GX attack. So these are really good. So now we have Forjudge. It's kind of the basic in decks. And it says, each player shuffles his or her hands into his or her deck and draws 4 cards. It's basically like Marshadow Let Loose, which is the exact same thing except for it's an ability and not an attack, which is actually really good for Marshadow. And we have Plumeria. This is the last supporter cards that we have in the deck, and then we will get on to the stadiums. Plumeria is like Crushing Hammer, and it says discard 2 cards from your hand. If you do, discard 1 energy from your opponent's Pokemon. I'm not really a fan of it because it's just, it should at least be 2 energies, not 1. I'd say 2 would be better for Plumeria. I mean, energies. Don't really like the discard 1 energy. I'm more of a fan of discard 2 energies because it would be a lot better. So now we have 3 Aether Paradise conservation areas. And it says basic grass and basic lightning Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, take 30 less damage from the basic grass and basic electric Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, take 30 less damage from your opponent's attacks after weaknesses and resistance. And that's all we have for Ether Paradise Conservation area. And now we have Life Force Prism. As always, the Prism Star cards only can have one in each deck, and they do go to the Lost Zone. So this card is amazing. It will be really good when you have a lot of damage, especially with Shamans. And it says, once during each player's turn, that player may heal 60 damage and remove all special conditions from one of their grass Pokemon. And whenever any player plays an item or supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to the stadium card. That's amazing. It can only be replaced by a stadium. So let's just say I'm playing a Pikachu Zekrom deck, and I have Life Force. It can only be removed by Ether Paradise, and it would go in the Lost Zone. But if my opponent plays a Field Blower, this does not go anywhere. It stays there. Which is the nice thing about Prisms. And now we have the energies, which is pretty basic. 4 DCEs, because, well, Venusaurs. And 7 grass energy. Which means, so it is a very small amount because of everything else we have, and also we only have 8 Pokemon, which means we don't need like a bajillion energies. So this is my deck, my build of Celebi Venusaur. We tried it out in a lot of different ways, and this was just the best way we had. So, thank you for watching. Have an amazing day, and good night.